तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ये गायत्री मंत्र का अर्थ है पृथ्वी, अंतरिक्ष, सूर्य और उसका प्रकाश पुंज से वो जो परे है वो पूज्य है। और दृश्यमान जगत में का देव सूर्य का हम ध्यान करते हैं, वे हमारी धारण करने की शक्तियों को उत्प्रेरित करें। निराकार शक्ति का ये उत्तम श्लोक है, जहाँ कोई नाम न देकर केवल वह कहकर पुकारा है। दिखाई देने वाली शक्ति में सूर्यदेव आराध्य हैं। अभी आत्मा के बारे में, नैनम छिंदति शास्त्राणि नैनम दहति पावका न चैनम क्लदयान्पो न शोषयत मारुतः। आत्मा को न शस्त्र काट सकते हैं, न अग्नि जला सकती है, न जल गला सकता है, न वायु सुखा सकती है, अर्थात आत्मा अजर अमर अविनाशी है।
We are gathered here today to celebrate and remember the life of my father, Vidya Parkash Mehra, who lived to see 93 glorious years. He was born in Lahore into a well-to-do family and loving parents. My Dada Barkat Ram Mehra ran his own film studio and was a producer and director, having learned the art of filmmaking from Germany. He had assistants like the Chopras working for him in the studio. After the partition, Dad, along with my grandmother, left everything behind and traveled to Delhi. He married my mom in 1957 and moved to Mumbai soon thereafter, under the Chhatrachayas of the Jasras at 7 bungalows. Soon thereafter, he took up residence at Siddhivinayak Prabhadevi in 1959. His first place of residence next to the iconic Siddhivinayak temple of Prabhadevi, when my Dadi was a staunch devotee of the Siddhivinayak Ganesh Murti, which was not so famous at the time, and gradually garnered more attention until Dad had to build a wall as a devotee started pouring into a building. This was also the home which hosted a lot of relatives from out of Mumbai and nurtured said relationships. Sorry. He next booked a bigger place in Gajanan Society in Mahim in 1960, and he had to literally fight his way to get the land, as it was encroached on by many, and was only successful in doing so by 1969. We shifted there in 1970. An engineer by profession, he liked to plan all his work strategically and was famous for getting things done. He was well dressed as always, found in a suit or a tie, and disciplined to the core. He loved bikes and automobiles. His first bike was a Java 250. And soon he migrated to a Morris Minor and then to an ambassador in 1964, when I was born. He loved to change his vehicles often and always adopted newest technology. He always tinkered around with his vehicles, keeping them waxed every week, and just could not tolerate any scratches or dents on his cars. Without him knowing, many of them were caused by me. I started driving at the age of 8. The moment he'll see one, it would be rushed to his favorite garage for a touch-up or a refurbishment. He had a full-fledged workshop at home with most of the tools made in Germany, which he carried along with him from place to place. We had a dedicated balcony which housed our small workshop. He used to love photography, had a large collection of cameras of different makes and models, developed all the photos himself, and loved coloring them during the black and white era. We had loads and loads of photo albums stashed away somewhere, which we are still looking for. So please forgive us if you don't see your picture with him. He loved to travel and has been to each and every nook and corner of India. As kids, we used to look forward to our summer vacations to be whisked away to holiday destinations. He started his career with Shalimata Products, and after retiring, he started his own consultancy business until he finally put up his boots in 1996. Innovative, trendsetter, and a great problem solver. When the ONGC building in Bandra, BKC was laying its foundation and seemed to have a lot of trouble with groundwater, Dad came up with an innovative solution to resolve same. A family man who always loved to spend time with his family and close friends, and on the spur of a moment would make plans for visiting them and spending quality time with them. We didn't have phones or social media back then. So when he felt like meeting his family or friends in the spur of the moment, he would just make the program and go and meet them. Social visits were unannounced, irrespective of the time of the day. As kids, we have been to each and every picnic spot, and all our family friends would chabi lagao him to arrange for the next picnic that he would always find new spots. He would always bring about his iconic ice box, which he had made himself to pour out cold drinks from on these hot days. Even if you give me another 1 hour, it seems it will be too less for the accolades he has gathered through his life. So moving ahead, thank you for joining us in the prayer meeting to relive a bit of his journey with a collection of photos, a few words by loved ones, and some melodies bhajans by Aishwarya, Seemadi, and Urmilji.
Om Jagadish धन मन धन सब कुछ है तेरा स्वामी सब कुछ है तेरा तेरा तुझको अर्पण तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा ओम जय जगदीश्वर शांति शांति
डैडी ऊपर देखो मम्मा ऊपर देखो डैडी स्माइल मम्मा आप भोग लगाओ
अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं बेर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा की जैसे सुलाते नहीं, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। कौन कहते हैं भगवान गाते नहीं, गाते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम गवाते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम गवाते नहीं, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरम्, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्।
Pashi Papa, we will miss you and you will always live in our hearts and prayers forever.
Pashi Papa, always smiling, accepting of every situation, gave us so much affection. Never forget him weeping in the corner when my Dolly left my parents' home. His mother Bibi, who was such an important part of our lives, he shared her with us wholeheartedly. That was Pashi Papa to me.
My pranams to Kuku Chachi. It is a time when we cannot be with you, so we have to share with you our thoughts. And in our thoughts, Pashi Chacha has been present for the last week. So when I thought about him, and I remembered that he was a man of few words, he never pushed himself. He always stayed in the background. But what he did was so special. Whenever I met him, I used to do pranams to him, and he would give me a big hug. Hugging is something we've really forgotten the art of. His hug used to come from the heart. It was full of love. his heart was full of love, and that golden heart of his used to peep out in these little hugs, these hugs that he used to give. जिस तरह कहते ना बिल्कुल मज़ा आ जाता सीगा. And it was this that I remember him for. Thank you, Pachi Chacha, for giving me all those wonderful hugs.
You asked me to say something nice about Chacha ji. Can one say anything that's not nice about him? He was such a complete lover of life and a lover of humanity. He was non-partisan. He was free, fair, and every bit of his energy spoke of respect for all of life. I felt very valued as a human being when we spoke. He was an amazing teacher without teaching anything. He and Chachiji both together set for us examples to emulate for marriage filled with love and affection. I love him. I love him a lot, and I love Chachiji also. And Chachaji, have a great time with the angels and come back soon as a teacher of the truth, which I'm sure you will very soon. I miss you. Mwah. Bye for now.
राम का गुणगान करे, राम का गुणगान करे, राम का गुणगान करे, राम प्रभु की भद्रता का सभ्यता का ध्यान धरिए, ध्यान धरिए, राम का गुणगान करिए, राम का गुणगान करिए, राम का, राम का। राम के गुण गुण चिरंतन, राम के गुण गुण चिरंतन, राम गुण सुमिरन रतन धन, राम धुन सुमिरन रतन धन, मनुजता को कर विभूषित, मनुजता को कर विभूषित, मनुज को धनवान करिए, ध्यान धरिए, राम का गुणगान करिए, राम का, राम का। सगुण ब्रह्म स्वरूप सुंदर, सगुण ब्रह्म स्वरूप सुंदर, सुजन रंजन रूप शुभ कर, सुजन रंजन रूप शुभ कर, राम आत्मा, राम आत्मा, राम आत्मा, राम आत्मा, राम का सम्मान करिए, ध्यान धरिए, राम का गुणगान करिए, राम का गुणगान
Daddy loved to be hugged and kissed, and he wanted everybody to kiss him and hold him and say, I love you. So every time we said, I love you to him, he would say, thank you. And I would say, thank you nahi bolna hai, I love you bolna hai. And that was such a funny thing. Then he would say, yeah, I love you back again. So this was such a funny moment that when we were in the hospital and we were doing a video call with mom, and daddy told mom, I love you. And he said, and mom said, thank you. And she laughed because this was like a internal joke. And then again he said, I love you. And mama laughed again and said, thank you. It was such a beautiful moment.
न हम में बल है न हम में शक्ति न हम में साधन न हम में भक्ति न हम में बल है न हम में शक्ति न हम में साधन न हम में भक्ति तुम्हारे देखे है हम भिखारी दया करो हे दयालु शरण में आए हैं हम तुम्हारी दया करो हे दयालु तुम हो स्वामी हम हैं सेवक तुम पिता हो हम हैं बालक तुम हो स्वामी हम हैं सेवक तुम पिता हो हम हैं बालक तुम हो ठाकुर हम पुजारी दया करो हे दयाल है हम तुम्हारी दया करो हे दयाल प्रदान कर दो महान शक्ति भरो हमारे में ज्ञान भक्ति प्रदान कर दो महान शक्ति भरो हमारे में ज्ञान भक्ति कभी कहाओगे सर्वधारी दया करो हे दयालु भगवान
Om Shanti. The beautiful soul played the part of my father in this lifetime on earth. The soul has moved on his journey to play the next part, sending vibrations of peace for his onward journey. I was fortunate that he played the role of my father in this life. I'm feeling blessed, cared, loved, all because of you, Dad. Dad was a kind and a loving father who had a heart of gold. He was kind. He taught me to be strong and independent. Honesty, simplicity being his main mantra in life. Dad, your guiding hand on my shoulder will remain with me forever. I can never forget the few things I have inherited from him. He taught me to live within my means. He used to say, "Jitni chadar hai, utne hi pair pasaro." Dad was a very social person. He loved planning picnics and outings to strengthen the existing relationships. Dad always made it a point to keep in touch with people. Dad never missed an opportunity to send personalized and handmade cards on special occasions. And he instilled the same qualities in me to value relationships. I have imbibed these qualities from him and enjoy doing the same. I will remember and abide by all the virtues and qualities you taught me, Dad. Dad was a firm foundation and a steady hand to hold. Dad, my relationship with you was a blessing. Your memory, a treasure. You are loved beyond words and will be missed beyond measure. Forever in our hearts, with love and fond memories, one of our greatest blessings, the man we called Dad.
Dad, the void you left in our hearts is something even time cannot heal. The love you showered on us and the grandchildren is for us to know. We will always miss you and you will always remain in our hearts.
Dad was 93 and he was absolutely alert and sharp. The neurologist came to the room when we admitted him this time at the hospital to ask him a couple of questions. So he was asking me about series of things, his medicines, etc., etc. And when he finished, he looked at him, the neurologist looked at Dad and said, "Aap abhi kahan hai?" And I offered to answer that for Dad, and I said, "Mumbai mein hai, Dad." And he didn't accept that question, and neither did this. After that, the neurologist asked him again, "Aaj aap abhi kahan hain?" And I offered to answer again, said Goregaon. And Dad said, looked at the neurologist straight in his eyes, and Dad said, "Andheri Char Bangle mein hai." And that's the actual Google map location of Kokilaben where he was admitted. And I looked at the neurologist and I laughed and I said, "Oh, that was a test question and I failed and he passed." So yes, he was that alert and that sharp and that tuned in, even on that day. Dad was our timekeeper. Like they say, if you're on time, you're already late. So he was always before time, 15 minutes before lunchtime, dinner time. And he would be like, "Bachche, khana ready hai." And at breakfast table, he would be asking, "Acha, shaam ka kya plan hai? Evening walk pe jayenge na?" And mom would nudge him and say, "Abhi se kyun pooch rahe ho?" And he would be like, "अभी से पता होना चाहिए ना कि जा रहे हैं शाम को कि नहीं." Always like planning ahead. And so, be it my wedding day or be it the day that he embarked on his journey to the next realm, everything went on super smooth, like on the dot, like clockwork, as if he was watching. Like, we went to the hospital, the papers got cleared on time, we got him back, we got him ready for the next journey, and yes, everything went as per schedule.
My dad was a great soul. He always was full of love, shared with all of us. Until date, even at this age, he never spared a moment to share his love with all of us. The best part about him was he accepted our life partners more than us. He gave more love to our life partners, accepted them in our families, and never felt them as an outsider. He was a man full of love to share unconditionally, and that's what we will remember always. Love you, Dad. Thank you.
श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। पितु मात स्वामी सखा हमारे, पितु मात स्वामी सखा हमारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। ठाकुर हमारे प्राणों से प्यारे, तुम हो हमारे, हम हैं तुम्हारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। गैया चरैया माखन चोरैया, गैया चोरैया माखन चोरैया। दीनों की नैया के तुम ही खेवैया, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। गोविंद मेरो है, गोपाल मेरो है, गोविंद मेरो है, गोपाल मेरो है। श्री बाके बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है, गोविंद मेरो है, गोपाल 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 मेरो है। श्री बाके बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वा वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा तुमसे है धरती तुमसे है अंबर अग्नि पवन और सातों समंदर हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो
It is hard to sum up Nanu's life in a few words, but I would like to highlight that he was an incredibly loving and affectionate person who always put his family first. The following would always remind me of him. We had a wonderful grandfather, and that's the way it'll always be. But take heed, because he's still keeping an eye on all of us, so let's make sure he will like what he sees.
There's so much to say about him that I couldn't even fit if I had time for 10 videos. 2020 has been a curse for many, but it's been a blessing for me. I got to work from home, which meant spending more time with him. Dadu spent all his afternoons in my room, lying down, talking to me, discussing his day, his aches and pains, his food choices, his struggles as a young lad, his journey, and basically everything that you share with a close friend. I'm sure I meant more to him than he meant to me, because those conversations really made him feel young again. I would play around him, pull his cheeks, hide his spectacles, sit on him, force him to tell me that he loves me so much. And yeah. Dadu played chess with me until I learned how to beat him, played Pokemon cards with him until I grew out of them, and bowled me straight balls until I learned how to hit them. He was a great man, hard worker, family man, and people's favorite. We all love you, Dadu. I hope we see you soon. I love you. Mwah.
I don't really know what the right thing to say is, so I'm just going to list a few things that I have loved about Dadu and a few things that he has taught me. He had the most beautiful voice ever and always sang in key, and is pretty much the only reason that I actually know the words to Om Jai Jagdish, because he sang it every single morning. I loved holding his hands. I could have had a terrible day and holding them just lifted my spirits. They were big and the softest ever, even after all the hands-on work that they've done. And they loved tinkering and just simply creating. Every birthday or anniversary or special occasion, there was always a personalized card waiting on the mantel that he'd pour his heart into. Even once his eyesight became poorer, he'd still make it a point to make a card. And I know that he's collected every single card that I've ever made for him. I remember him being so crafty, and I'm convinced it's him that I get my creative flair and knack for making things from. When I was younger, I believed that I was a mad scientist, always making things in my secret lab. And I could always count on him for being my trusty and resourceful supplier of whatever was in his cabinets that I wanted that day. Be it his overworked hammer or screwdrivers, superglue or duct tape, his wisdom or just a hand. I never heard no for an answer. Dadu was good at many things, but he was great at jugaad. He was a perfect embodiment of the saying, where there's a will, there's a way, and taught us that there's nothing that can't be fixed with a little time, effort, and creative thinking, be it a passion project or a sticky situation. Here are some things that I found by flipping through his old photo albums that he is so carefully protected and colored in. Number one, he is always dressed sharply for absolutely everything. You will never find him in anything but a suit and tie. Number two, I know that he is proud that I'm a graphic designer and certified in Photoshop because there's plenty of evidence that suggests that he was a pro Photoshopper himself before the software was probably even invented. Number three, he was a dashing young man devoted to his friends and family who loved life and found contentment. I can only hope to live a life as full and disciplined and balanced as he effortlessly did, as I carry him with me in my memory and heart everywhere, wherever life may take me. At 93, he still somehow had more energy than I did, because when I'd spend most of my day working from bed, he'd be zooming around the house restlessly from one room to the next. He could not sit still and always had to be doing something, because time was always of the essence and every moment precious. And I always assumed we'd have another one. Another moment, another day, another time. There's so much of my work I still wanted to show him, so many questions I still had to ask, so many things we still had to make together. To say that my heart is heavy with regret is an understatement. Not to sound preachy or whatever, but maybe dedicate more time to our loved ones because that's all we really have to give to them. And may we hug them and hold them every chance we get and grab their hands just one more time because God knows I wish I did.
Was very kind and very sweet person. He always welcomed us with open arms. We loved him and he will remain always in our hearts.
हमारे मेहरा साहब के बारे में हमारे समधी समाधिस्थ हो गए, परिवार को बिलखता छोड़कर गए, संसार छोड़ने के पहले परिवार को संवार गए, तीसरी पीढ़ी को प्यार और दुलार कर गए, प्रेम और स्नेह से सबको जोड़ते गए, जो भी निकट आया अपना बनाते गए, अब परम पिता परमेश्वर की शरण में लीन हो गए। तुम्हें शत शत नमन एवं श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित श्री विद्या प्रकाश मेहरा जी को समर्पित।
Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Respected Mehra Saab is no more with us today, but his wonderful memories linger on. We knew Mehra Saab right from the time our pretty daughter Shiku got married to Sanjeev over 25 years ago. He was a great persona, took care of the entire family. He had lovely sons and daughters and very lovely grandchildren. He was very affectionate, and the grandchildren would love to be with him for many, many hours together. He was very warm hearted, and he took part in all the functions which especially Shiks and Sanju organized as a youngster. Despite his many ailments, he was a person who will be missed in all family gatherings, always. But his ideals, his teachings will live on. We pray to Almighty that his soul may rest in eternal peace. Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
My sister Shiku's house is one of the most affectionate houses that you can go to, and it's because of people like Uncle over there why we always felt like going to Shiku's house.
About 20 years ago, Lavanya had mentioned that Dadi is more affectionate than Dadu. After that, Uncle made sure that every time, as soon as Lavanya entered the house, he went and hugged her and kissed her. And one of my fondest memories of him is also him holding my face in his hands and kissing my forehead. And that will continue to be my most memorable moment with him.
Daddy loved his friends and they loved him back. They were his solid pillars of support. And they were all known as the Kumars, almost all of them. And I got to differentiate them by Santa Cruz Wale Kumar Uncle, Worli Wale Kumar Uncle, and Kolaba Wale Kumar Auntie. And all their children and all their grandchildren, they were such beautiful people and they became a part of our extended family. And we always met on so many different occasions. You'll get to see them, a lot more of them on this next section.
Mummy, Nina, Neha, and I were also very saddened to learn Uncle Ji passed away last week. I have in fact known him from his bachelor days. That adds up to over 50 years now. After marriage, Uncle and Auntie were regular visitors to our house in King Circle, and we so enjoyed their visits. I can still visualize his first words every time we met. "Hello, Bacche," he said in his most affectionate and lovable way. We bonded so well as a family, we were soon going on outings together. And before we knew it, these became day-long picnics with lots of food, fun, laughter, games, and even a tent. All of us cherish his visit to our house in Nasik some years back. though it was just for an hour or so. Whenever we could on our very short visits to Bombay, we tried to meet him and Auntie for a few moments of shared love. I do wish at least one of us could be with you to share the grief we all feel at this time and give some comfort to Auntie and the family. Nevertheless, our thoughts and prayers will be with you today. We will miss him very much and pray his soul rest in peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Shikhu and Sanjeev, for letting us be a part of his condolence meet. And it came as a great shock to know that he's no more with us. But I will always remember and cherish all the memories that I shared with him. He was the first person I met after my marriage, and we spent some good times, went for a few picnics and in-house parties and stuff. But the most thing remarkable about him was, because he was quite like me, we would both laugh together at any comedy shows and stuff. I mean, we would have a hearty laugh, the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. And he knew how to enjoy his life. And he is one person who has always been in touch with our family till his end. He would always wish us for our birthdays, anniversaries, and I loved him a lot, and I wish he's happy wherever he is.
Yeah, heartfelt sympathies from our end. I've known Sanjeev and Sanjeev's parents for at least 35 years. We started our apprenticeship together. We're way down in Australia, but I always enjoyed going to visit Sanjeev and his parents. And he was a wonderful man. So, man of few words, very royal and regal, but it was always a pleasure meeting him and Sanjeev's mom. May his soul rest in peace.
Shikhu, we will miss your dad, and our fondest and heartfelt sympathies and love and prayers with you guys during this difficult time. Stay strong. God bless.
Sanjeev, our heartfelt condolences for you and your family. The only thing I can say is you are very lucky. You may be around 45 or so, and your father is there. When I was 10, I lost my father. So I can realize that how much important a father's life is for the children. Thank you very much.
Om Jagadish, धन मन धन सब कुछ है तेरा, स्वामी सब कुछ है तेरा, तेरा तुझको अर्पण, तेरा तुझको अर्पण, क्या लागे मेरा। ओम जय जगदीश्वर। शांति शांति।
डैडी ऊपर देखो, मम्मा ऊपर देखो। डैडी स्माइल। मम्मा आप भोग लगाओ।
एक और डैडी स्माइल कर रहा है, स्माइल कर रहा है।
ठीक नहीं है ताशा, ठीक नहीं है, बाहर जाने के लिए।
Thank you, everybody, for being with us all through his life and on this prayer meeting. It's been a wonderful journey. I won't say that he went at 93, he lived 93 glorious years. Thank you so much from our entire Mehra family, from Shabnam Savara and her family, from Rajiv Mehra and his family, from Sanjeev, me, and the kids. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, Neelam Bua. Thank you, Pravendi. Thank you, Ashu Chacha. Thank you, Hema Chachi. Thank you, Anil, Malcolm. Thank you, Pradeep and Reena Mehra. Thank you, Neelam Bua. Thank you, Manas Preeti. Thank you, Vijendra Jain. Thank you, Tatu. Thank you, Mom. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you, Vinesh. Thank you, Amitav. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Rajan Bhaiya. Thank you so much. Sorry? Huh? Urmil. Thank you, Urmil ji. Thank you, Neelam, Masi. Thank you, Sharda Auntie. Thank you, Anil. Thank you, Anil, for being a part of all our journeys. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Sanjeev Jijaji. Thank you, Raman Uncle. Thank you, Satish Uncle. Thank you, Vinu Kumar Uncle. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Hardi Bhai. Thank you, Shilpa Bhabhi. Thank you, Aishwarya, Seema ji, Seema Didi and Urmil ji for the beautiful bhajans. Thank you, Shobita Bhabhi. That was such an emotional video. Yeah, we've been also tearing up. All these days we've been just sifting through old albums, which is like a great way to heal, I think. And it's been beautiful. Thank you, Amita. I hope I've thanked everybody. Thank you, Bola. Thank you, Dipti Menon.